Hello children, we are in the second chapter, Is Matter Around Us Pure? In the previous video, we learned about physical and chemical changes and we learned some separating techniques. In this video, we will continue with same separating techniques. Okay. Now in the previous video, we learned about separation by sublimation. Separation by magnet, okay, using a magnet. If the mixture contains iron object, we can separate those iron objects by using magnet. And then we have seen separation by evaporation. Okay, so today we'll start with separation by crystallization. Now, any idea what is crystallization? By the name itself, we can understand it is something related to crystal. Okay, so crystallization is a process that separates a pure solid in the form of the crystals from a solution. It means you can separate one component in the form of crystals from a solution. Okay, so today we will in this video we will learn how we can obtain pure crystals of copper sulfate. Okay, now for this what we will do, we will take 10 grams of impure copper sulfate and dissolve it in less amount of water. Copper sulfate is soluble in water. Okay, it will dissolve in water and it will form a solution. Now this solution, it will contain some impurities because it is impure. So it can contain soluble as well as insoluble impurities. Okay, if there are insoluble impurities, we can remove it by filtration. So once the solution is formed, the second step is we will filter the copper sulfate solution. So what will happen as we filter, the insoluble impurities will remain in the filter paper. Now the third step is we will take this copper sulfate solution in a china dish and we will start heating it. Now we will not heat it directly on the flame because it might decompose or get burned. So what we will do, we will take a beaker, fill it with water and then place the china dish on the top of the beaker and start heating. So what will happen, as the water starts to boil, it will form steam and that steam will start heating the copper sulfate solution. Okay, you have to heat the copper sulfate solution till it becomes saturated. Now how to find out whether the solution has turned saturated or not? So for this, take a glass rod and dip the glass rod in the solution. So if crystals are forming on the glass rod, it means that the solution has become saturated. If crystals are not forming, it means solution has not turned saturated. So continue heating it. Okay. So once the solution has turned saturated, switch off the burner. Remove the china dish from the beaker and keep it down. Okay. Allow the hot saturated solution to cool slowly. Now as the solution starts cooling slowly, you can find that crystals are forming in the solution. Okay. Now if the solution contains some soluble impurities, even we can remove them. So once the crystals are formed, what we will do, we will again filter it. Okay, so when you filter it, you will get all the crystals on the filter paper. Remove the crystals and dry it. Okay, and the crystals which you get, it will be in their pure form. See, these are crystals of copper sulfate. They are blue in color. Okay, so again, let's take a quick recap. First thing what we will do, we will take some impure copper sulfate, dissolve it in less amount of water and form a solution. Now, if the solution contains insoluble impurities, filter it. Then what we will do, we will heat the copper sulfate solution till it becomes saturated. Okay, so for that what we will do, we will dip the rod in the glass rod in the solution. If crystals are forming, it means the solution is saturated. Then what we will do, once it turns saturated, allow the solution to cool. Now, as solution starts cooling, you can see crystals of pure copper sulfate forming. And if there are some soluble impurities, we can remove that by filtration. Okay, is it clear? Now, crystallization is a better technique than evaporation. We know in evaporation what we do, we heat the solution to dryness. Till whole solution is evaporated, it is heated. But in crystallization, we do not heat the solution to dryness. So, what can be the reason why crystallization is better than evaporation? The first one is, some solids, okay, when you heat it to dryness, it might decompose, or it might get charred or burned. Okay, so we cannot heat it to dryness. So in that case, we can use crystallization, because in crystallization we do not heat it to dryness. The complete liquid is not evaporated. The second reason is, the soluble impurities do not get removed in the process of evaporation, but such impurities get removed in crystallization. In evaporation, impurities are not removed because the water is evaporated to dryness. So impurities are not removed, but in crystallization, impurities are removed. The salt is obtained from seawater. Okay, when the water is evaporated, we get salt. But the salt contains impurity, because in evaporation, impurities are not removed. So the salt which is obtained from seawater, it undergoes purification, okay, by using the method crystallization. Okay, I hope you have understood the process of crystallization. Now we'll come to the next separating technique. Supply of drinking water in city. Okay, now the water which we get in our house, okay, the source of water is from river or lake. But the water that are present in river and lake, it is not pure. It contains impurities. It contains impurities as well as germs. So we cannot use that water directly. So this water from river or lake, it undergoes purification, and then it is supplied to homes. Okay, and the place where this purification takes place, it is called as water work. Now this water work is situated on the bank of river or lake from where water is taken. Okay, so let us start with the process. Now first, water from the lake or reservoir is pumped. Okay, it is pumped into huge tanks or huge basin called as sedimentation tank. Okay, the water is pumped in sedimentation tank, and then the water is left undisturbed for some time. Okay, so during this undisturbed period, if there are some impurities, it will settle at the bottom of the tank. Then from this sedimentation tank, the water is supplied to the next tank, that is loading tank. Now in loading tank, some alum is added to the water. Now if the water contains some clay or mud particles, what will happen? The clay and the mud will stick to the alum. The alum will become heavy and it will settle at the bottom of the tank. Now from loading tank, the water is sent to the third tank, that is filtration tank. Now this filtration tank, it contains 3 layers. The first is layer of fine sand. The second, it is layer of coarse sand. And third is gravel. Gravel means small stone. Now these 3 layers, it acts as filter. So if there are any impurities, it will get stuck in this layer. Okay. So from loading tank, the water is now supplied to the filtration tank. So the water will pass through these 3 layers. If there are any impurities, it will get stuck in the layers. Okay. Now from there, the water is passed to the next tank, that is chlorination tank. Now in this tank, a little amount of chlorine gas is added to kill the germs that are present in the water. Okay. So in chlorination tank, the water is disinfected. Now the water that is present, it is free from impurities and germs, and it is safe for drinking. Now from this chlorination tank, it is supplied to huge storage tank, and from huge or heavy high storage tank, the water is supplied to your homes or factories with the help of there's a network of big and small pipes. So through these pipes, the water enter, it is supplied to our homes or factory. Okay. I hope you have understood how water is purified. Okay. Welcome to the next separating technique, that is centrifugation. Okay. So we should know what is centrifugation. Now in this centrifugation, we can separate cream from milk. So first of all, let us find out what is centrifugation. Centrifugation is a method for separating the suspended particles of a substance from a liquid in which the mixture is rotated at a high speed in a centrifuge. So centrifugation means what? In centrifugation, the particles that are suspended in the liquid, we can separate that particle by rotating the liquid at a very high speed in a machine called centrifuge. Okay, so when we rotate this liquid at a very high speed, what happens? The heavier particles will settle down and the lighter particles will float on the top. Okay. Now this is centrifuge machine. This you can see there are tubes placed. They are called as centrifuge tube. Now using this centrifugation method, we can separate cream from milk. So in dairy, they use this centrifuge machines. The one which you see in the picture, these kind of machines are not used in dairies. they have huge different centrifuge machine. Okay, we know that milk is a suspension. It is a mixture of you can say oil or fat in water. So we can separate the cream from the milk. So in dairy, what they do, they take huge centrifuge container, and in that they add this milk, and then the milk is rotated at a very high speed. So as the milk is rotated, a force acts on the particles that are heavy. Okay, a force acts on the particle that are heavy, and what happens? The force will push the heavier particles down to the bottom of the container, and the lighter particles will float on the top. So in the case of milk, cream being lighter, it will float on the top. Okay, and milk being heavier, it will settle down. So in this picture you can see cream on the top, and we can see skim milk. Skim milk means the milk from which fat is removed. That is called as skim milk. Now application, where is the centrifugation used? It is used in diagnostic laboratories for blood and urine test. Now we know our blood is a mixture of blood cells. We have RBCs, WBCs, platelets and plasma. Okay, so we can separate these blood cells and plasma by using centrifugation. It is used in dairies and homes to separate butter from cream. It is used in washing machine to squeeze out water from wet clothes. Now the machine tub, must have seen, it will rotate at a very high speed. So as it is rotating, the water, okay, it removes the water from the wet clothes. This picture you can see blood before centrifugation. It looks same, all red. And after centrifugation, you can see it separating out. The heavier particle, that is RBC and WBCs, they will settle at the bottom. And the plasma being lighter, it will float on the top. Okay, so this was centrifugation. The next one is separation by chromatography. Now chromatography is derived from a Greek word chroma, which means color, and graphy means to write. So it's a first technique which is used for separation of colors. We can separate colors by using the method of chromatography. So let's find out what is chromatography. It is a technique used for separating solutes that dissolve in the same solvent. Okay, so chromatography is a process, okay, which is used for separating two or more solute that are present in small quantities in the solution. Now, in this, today we will study separation of dye. Now we know, like we learned in the last video, like ink is a mixture of dye in water. Let us take black ink. Now black ink is not made up of only one dye. It is made up of more number of dyes. So when several dyes are mixed together in water, we get black ink. So by using chromatography method, we can find out the different dyes that are present in black ink. There are different types of chromatography, but the simplest chromatography is paper chromatography, and that is what we will learn today. Now for paper chromatography, we use a special type of filter paper. Okay, so first we will take a strip of chromatography paper, okay, and then draw a line, Okay, take a pencil and draw a line. The line should be 3 centimeter from the end. Mark the center of the line, and on the center put some black color ink. Let the ink dry. So once the ink is dried, we will place the filter paper in a glass jar. Okay, so take a glass jar and take little amount of water and place the chromatography paper in the glass jar. Make sure that the lower end of the paper is dipped in water, but make sure that the pencil line is above the water. The pencil line should not be inside the water, it should be above the water. Now to support the chromatography paper, you can stick the paper on the glass rod with the help of sellotape. Okay. Now, after some time, what will happen? The water will slowly start rising up. As the water is slowly rising up, it will come in contact with the ink. And we know ink is made up of dye. So as water is rising up, okay, even the dye which is present in the ink will also mix with the water. And even the dye will start rising up along with the water. Now, the dye which is soluble, okay, which is more soluble in water, the dye which is more soluble in water will dissolve faster. It will rise faster and it will take a higher position on the chromatography paper. The dye which is less soluble in water will take time to dissolve. It will rise slowly and it will take a lower position on the chromatography paper. So in this you can see a black ink has a different number of dyes. Over here it is three color spots you can see. One is pink, blue and green. So you can say that a black ink is made up of more number of dyes, and the dyes solubility is shown on the chromatography paper. The dye which is more soluble will rise faster and they will take a higher position on the chromatography paper. The dye which is less soluble, it will rise slowly and it will take low position on the filter paper. Okay, so we can say that chromatography is based on the solubility of the solute. The solute which is more soluble will take a higher position. The solute which is less soluble will take a lower position. Okay, so in this way we can separate the solute or the dye that are present on the ink. Application of chromatography. Now it is used for separating colors in a dye. Even we can separate the food colors. Okay, the food colors. Even we can use chromatography to separate the food colors. It is used in forensic science to detect the amount of poison or blood, amount of poison or drug that are present in the bladder or stomach, okay, by using chromatography technique. I hope you have understood, children, whatever we have learned today. Thank you.